Morning, Abotai, Erev Shabbat Shalom. The Shulchan Aruch in Siman Tav Kafchet says that beginning from this Shabbat, there is a direct correlation. We have like a marathon from this Shabbat all the way till Rosh Hashanah. How so? This Shabbat we begin a series of 3 Haftarot that are called Telatad Defur'anuta. 3 Haftarot that the Nevi'im said, prophesizing about the Churban Bet HaMikdash, 3 Haftarot of calamity and punishment. Immediately following Tisha B'Av, we start another series of Shiv'ad Denechamata, which is the 7 Haftarot that speak about consolation of Yerushalayim and the rebuilding of Bet HaMikdash. 10 weeks, 10 Shabbatot, from now until Rosh Hashanah. Now, because of that, a person has to be very careful to switch this coming week's Parashat Pinchas's Haftarah, not from the regular one. You don't read the regular one of Sefer Melachim. Rather, you have to switch it to next week's, to Parashat Matot. You start off Divrei Yirmiyahu ben Chilkiyahu. That's the first one of the 3 of this week. The Magen Avraham quotes from the Tzemach Tzedek that if a person made a mistake and did not read Divrei Yirmiyahu this week, then what you should do is double up next week, because the first two, Divrei Yirmiyahu and Shimon Devar Hashem, are back-to-back, Perek Aleph and Perek Bet, in Yirmiyahu. So you just try to avoid making a mistake and reading the correct Haftarah this week, even though it has absolutely nothing to do with Parashat HaShavua. It has to do with the 3 weeks and the Churban Bet HaMikdash in general. Now the Kaf HaChaim quote, he brings several poskim that say that the 2 Nevi'im that spoke primarily about the Churban Bet HaMikdash were Yeshaya and Yirmiyah. If that's the case, the order of the Haftarot would seem to be a little bit out of order. It's not in chronological order. Who was first, Yeshaya or Yirmiyah? Yeshaya was earlier. So if that's the case, why do we start off the first 2 Haftarot, Divrei Yirmiyahu, next week, Shimon Devar Hashem, also Yirmiyahu, 3rd week, Shabbat Chazon, Chazon Yeshayahu ben Amos. It's out of order. Start with Yeshaya. He was first. So he gives 2 answers. Number 1, he quotes the Levush. The Levush writes that we want to put who had the most scathing musar for Am Yisrael, Chazon Yeshayahu ben Amos. He says, look at you, Yada Ashur Koneu, Hamor Amos Be'alav, Yisrael lo Yada Ami lo Yidbonan. The harshest musar came from Yeshayahu. We want to put that together with the musar of Moshe Rabbeinu, which happened in Parashat Devarim. So that's number 1. Number 2, the Kaf HaChaim quotes from the Yafel Alev, Rabbeinu Chaim Palachi. He understands that the reason why we do Yirmiyahu first is because we want to put all of the Shiv'ad Nechamata. It's interesting. All of the other Haftarot of the year are assorted from around the Nevi'im. Some from Yoshua, Shoftim, Melachim, Shemuel, Tre'asar, Yeshaya. It's all a mixture. The 7 consolation ones, beginning from Nachamu after Tisha B'Av, all of those 7 ones are from where? All Yeshaya, beginning to end. So we wanted to put the Musar of Yeshayahu right next to the consolation, the Nechama of Yeshayahu as well, and therefore we put them back to back, even though technically it's out of order. So just keep that in mind to make sure that you're reading the right Haftarot in the following weeks. By the way, just as a pointer, next week is Shabbat and Rosh Chodesh together. Rosh Chodesh falls out next Shabbat, and yet, even though in general, when Rosh Chodesh falls out on Shabbat, we read a special Haftarah of Ko Amar Hashem Hashamayim Kis'i. On a week like next week, when there's a special Haftarah of Telatad Defur'anuta, there's something special that we read, we don't replace it. We add in some psukim for Rosh Chodesh, but we don't replace the Haftarah. I'll mention that next week, B'ezrat Hashem, as well. Have a wonderful day in Shabbat Shalom.